In 1969, Norway discovered vast oil reserves beneath the cold waters of the North Sea. This discovery would transform Norway from a modest economy into a powerful energy nation. During the following decades, petroleum revenues began flowing steadily into Norway's economy.
Norwegian leaders soon realized that oil wealth would not last forever.
They faced a crucial question. How could this wealth benefit future generations? Economists warned that relying only on oil could threaten Norway's long-term stability.
In 1990, Norway's parliament approved the creation of a national sovereign wealth fund.
The new fund would eventually become the Government Pension Fund Global.
In 1996, the first petroleum revenues were officially transferred into the fund.
From the beginning, Norway decided the fund would invest outside its own economy.
The fund began purchasing shares in companies across global financial markets. Over time, the fund expanded its investments across Europe, North America, and Asia.
The portfolio soon included thousands of companies and government bonds worldwide.
Investing abroad helped protect Norway's economy from oil price volatility.
Gradually, the fund became one of the largest investors in global markets.
By the mid-2000s, the fund's assets had already reached hundreds of billions of dollars.
Norway's fund was quietly becoming a major shareholder in companies worldwide.
Investments spread across thousands of companies in dozens of countries.
The strategy focused on long-term growth rather than short-term speculation.
Within a decade, the fund had become one of the most powerful investors on Earth.
Soon the fund owned small stakes in thousands of companies across the world.
Norway was quietly becoming one of the largest shareholders in global markets.
At this scale, the fund owned roughly 1% of all listed companies worldwide. The fund also began investing in major commercial real estate around the world. Norway's oil fund was becoming the largest sovereign wealth fund on Earth. Norway created strict rules to control how much money could be spent from the fund. Each year, the government can only spend a small portion of the fund's value. This rule generally limits spending to about 3% of the fund.
We are dedicated to building enduring wealth, ensuring prosperity for generations to come.
The goal is simple: transform temporary oil wealth into permanent national wealth. Norway's fund also introduced strict ethical guidelines for its investments.
Companies involved in certain weapons or severe environmental damage could be excluded.
An independent ethics council evaluates companies and recommends exclusions when necessary.
The fund also votes as a shareholder in thousands of global companies.
Over time, the fund became one of the most influential investors in the world.
By the mid-2000s, the funder's total value had surpassed $1 trillion.
At this scale, Norway had become one of the most powerful investors in global markets.
The fund owned shares in thousands of companies across nearly every major economy. In fact, the fund owned roughly 1 to 2% of the world's listed equities.
Petrol and cybercars. Norway's oil fund had officially become the largest sovereign wealth fund on Earth.
Over the years, the fund continued expanding as global markets increased in value.
The fund also began investing in renewable energy infrastructure projects worldwide.
Its portfolio now included equities, bonds, real estate, and renewable infrastructure. Few investors have influence across the global economy on this scale. Eventually, the fund's value approached $2 trillion.
The fund is managed by Norges Bank Investment Management, based in Oslo. Professional investment teams manage the fund's global portfolio.
Unlike many sovereign funds, Norway publishes detailed investment reports.
Citizens can see where the nation's oil wealth is invested.
The Parliament and Government closely oversee how the fund operates.
As the fund grew, debates about ethics and environmental responsibility intensified.
Critics pointed out the irony of a massive oil fund investing in green energy.
Our commitment to a proactive environmental response is clear as we strategically increase our investment in renewable energy infrastructure.
It also began reducing exposure to certain fossil fuel companies. The strategy aimed to align national wealth with a changing global energy system.
State markets. The fund helps stabilize Norway's economy during fluctuations in global oil prices.
Each year, a small portion of the fund supports Norway's national budget.
This system protects public finances from sudden market shocks.
The fund ensures that future generations benefit from today's oil revenues. Temporary oil income has been transformed into long-term national wealth.
Today, the fund owns small shares in thousands of companies worldwide.
In fact, it owns roughly 1 to 2% of all listed equities globally.
Through shareholder voting, the fund influences corporate governance worldwide. Few investors have such broad influence across the global economy.
Norway's oil fund remains the largest sovereign wealth fund on Earth.
Today, the fund manages more than $2 trillion in global assets.
Our global footprint is immense, spanning thousands of companies across dozens of countries.
What began as oil revenue has become one of the largest financial portfolios in history.
Many nations study Norway's model of turning natural resources into lasting wealth.
The fund has become a symbol of disciplined economic planning.
Norway proved that natural resources can be managed with discipline and foresight.
Instead of spending oil money quickly, Norway invested it for the long term.
Temporary oil income was transformed into permanent national wealth.
Today, the world's richest sovereign wealth fund belongs to a nation of just 5 million people.
Norway turned oil beneath the sea into prosperity
that may last for generations.